The knocking doesn't stop. It comes fast, uneven, almost breaking itself against the wood. Rain slams the roof in heavy sheets. Wind drags along the walls like something searching for a way in. She stands there, soaked through, one hand pounding, the other clutching the small boy pressed against her side. His face is buried in her coat. His fingers twist tight into the fabric like he's holding on to the last solid thing left in the world. The door opens before her fist can land again. It just opens. No creak. No warning. The man stands there already looking at her. No greeting. No question. Just watching. She swallows. We just need a night. The boy shifts, tightening his grip. His voice comes out low, shaky. Mama, don't let him in. She hushes him quickly, brushing wet hair from his face. It's okay. It's okay. The man's eyes move down to the child. They stay there a second too long. Then back to her. Storm won't pass tonight, he says. His voice is flat. Not unkind. Not warm either. Just there. We won't stay long, she replies. A pause stretches between them. The wind howls louder, pushing rain past the doorway onto the floor between their boots. No one ever does, he says. The boy presses his face deeper into her coat. Mama, please. She hesitates. Just a second. Long enough to feel it. That small crack. Something not right. Something she can't name yet. Then thunder cracks so hard it shakes the frame of the house. She exhales. Please. The man steps aside. Not quickly. Not slowly. Just enough. She doesn't thank him. She just moves. Pulls the boy with her as they cross the threshold. The air inside is warmer, but not by much. It smells faintly of wood and something older, something closed up too long. The door shuts behind them. Hard. The sound cuts through everything. The boy goes still. Completely still. No more crying. No more whispering. She looks down at him. Hey, it's okay. He doesn't answer. Just stares ahead. The man walks past them without a word, deeper into the house. His boots echo against the floor, slow and steady. He doesn't look back to see if they follow. She lingers by the door, hands still resting against it like she might open it again. You coming? He says from somewhere ahead. She pulls herself forward. Yeah. The room opens into a wide space with a table, a stove, a single lantern casting low light. Shadows stretch long along the walls. Everything feels placed but untouched. The boy finally speaks, barely above a breath. He was waiting. She stiffens. What? He knew we'd come. She shakes her head. You don't know that. I do. The man stops at the table. His back still turned. Kid says something? No, she answers quickly. He's just tired. The boy lifts his head slightly. Looks straight at the man. The man doesn't turn. Thank you for letting us stay, she says. Silence. Then, you can put your things there. She nods, even though he can't see it. Moves toward the corner he indicated. Her hands tremble as she sets down the small bag she's been carrying. The boy doesn't let go of her. Not once. You got a name? The man asks. She hesitates. Does it matter? Another pause. No, he says. The boy whispers again, softer now. Mama. She leans down. What is it? He doesn't look at her. His eyes stay fixed ahead. He's not alone. Her breath catches. She straightens slowly, forcing herself not to react. The man finally turns. Their eyes meet. For a moment, no one speaks. Outside, the storm roars louder. Inside, the house holds its breath. And somewhere in that silence, something shifts. Inside the house the silence does not loosen, it settles like dust in old corners. Watching them breathe, the boy steps away from his mother slowly as if the floor already knows him. The man stands near the table, not speaking, just observing in the way someone watches a clock that has stopped long ago. The boy turns his head left-right like he is listening to something no one else hears. He walks forward, fingers brushing the wall once, twice, slow, careful, familiar. The mother follows a step behind but hesitates when she sees how easily he moves through the space as if it belongs to him. He stops at a small cabinet and touches the wood gently like greeting an old friend. The man finally shifts his weight, eyes narrowing slightly but still saying nothing. The boy moves again toward the hallway at the end of the room and the air seems colder there. The mother catches up quickly, grabbing his shoulder. "Where are you going?" she asks, too fast, too sharp. The boy does not flinch, he just keeps looking forward. "I know this place," he says softly. The mother shakes her head. "No, you don't. We have never been here before." The boy pulls free and walks again toward the hallway. The man watches him now more directly as if waiting for something to break. The boy stops at the threshold and points down the dark corridor. "My room is down there," he says. The world feels smaller, suddenly tighter. She looks at him, then at the man. The man does not react, not even a blink. "You ever been here?" she asks. "No," he answers. "Then why you walking like that?" She pushes. The boy finally turns his head slightly toward her, eyes steady, too steady. "Because I remember," he says. The silence after his words stretches thin like glass about to crack. The mother feels it in her chest before she even hears the thunder roll again outside. The house responds with a low groan in its bones. The man finally moves his gaze from the boy to the hallway and then back again, slower, now heavier, like something has been confirmed without words. He speaks, but softly, almost under the noise. "That ain't possible," he says. Another thunder strike shakes the walls, dust drifting from the ceiling, light flickers once. The boy does not move, his eyes still fixed down the corridor as if something is waiting for him there. The mother pulls him slightly back, but he resists, not strongly, just enough to stay where he is. The man takes a step forward, then stops like he regrets it already. His voice comes again, softer, cracked this time. "No one should know that." "Halt," he says. The boy finally looks at him directly for the first time since they entered, and in that look something old and heavy settles between them without explanation. The mother feels her grip tighten again as the hallway seems longer than it should be. The man whispers almost to himself, "Not again," he says. The boy tilts his head slightly as if hearing something beyond the walls. "It's still there," he says. The mother snaps. "Stop it," she says. The man raises a hand halfway, then drops it again as if unsure whether to speak or stay silent. Thunder rolls again, louder, shaking every wooden joint in the house. The boy whispers once more, "I remember everything." The man closes his eyes for a brief second as if something inside him gives, and then he finally speaks again, voice lower than before, almost breaking as thunder shakes the walls around them. "I thought I locked that away," he says, "but no. The storm does not stay outside, it presses against the house like a living thing trying to remember how to enter." Windows begin to shake, first slowly, then violently, as if something on the other side is testing them. Inside, the lantern light wavers but does not fall completely, leaving the room in a sick, unstable glow. The man stands near the door watching it all without moving, like he has already lived through this moment before. The woman pulls her son closer, but he is not looking at her anymore, his eyes fixed somewhere past the walls. The sound of thunder becomes constant, as if the sky itself refuses to leave them alone. The man finally moves his hand to the lock on the inside of the door. He hears her voice behind him, sharp and uncertain. "You lock your guests in?" she asks. He turns slowly, not fully facing them when he answers. "Not guests," he says. "Then what are we?" "Not sure yet." The silence after his words feels heavier than the storm outside, pressing into the wooden bones of the house. The lights flicker, suddenly cutting the room into darkness for a heartbeat before returning weak and trembling. The man reaches the door again, and this time he turns the lock with a final hard click that echoes through the hall. The woman steps forward immediately. "What did you just do?" He does not look at her when he replies. "Storm will break it anyway," he says quietly. The boy finally moves for the first time since entering the house, slipping his hand out of his mother's grip without struggle, as if it was already decided. She notices too late, calling his name, but he is already walking away toward the hallway again. The man watches but does not stop him. The house seems to breathe around them louder now as the storm outside and the silence inside begin to mirror each other. The boy reaches the hallway and disappears slightly into its shadow without turning back once. The woman calls again, louder, but the sound feels swallowed by the house as the man stands still, watching the hallway where the child has gone. A long moment passes before the lights stabilize again, as if the house has chosen to pretend nothing happened. The woman moves toward the hallway, but the man steps slightly in her path without touching her. "We should not follow him," he says. Her voice breaks. "He is just a child." The man's eyes flicker something unreadable for a moment before he responds. "In this house nothing is just anything." The wind outside slams harder now, rattling every window as though trying to force its way inside through memory alone. The woman finally pushes past him, stepping into the hallway, light fading behind her as she calls her son again. Her voice echoes, but no answer comes back. The man remains behind for a moment, then slowly follows, his face tightened as if he already knows where this leads. The hallway feels longer now, stretching deeper than the house should allow. Somewhere ahead, the boy's footsteps stop. Then silence returns, but it is not empty. It feels like something is waiting for them both in the dark. The woman whispers his name again, but this time even she does not believe he will answer. The man stops suddenly, as if hearing something beneath the floorboards. A soft sound comes from ahead, like a door that should not exist, opening slowly. The woman reaches out again, but the darkness ahead feels thicker now, almost alive, pulling the child further in, while the man stands frozen, realizing he has heard that sound before in a place he tried to forget, too clearly remembered. The hallway seems to narrow as they move deeper into it, the air growing colder with each step. The boy stands at the end near a half-open door, his small frame still, as if waiting for something to answer him from the dark. The woman reaches him first, grabbing his shoulders. "Why did you run off like that?" she says, breathless, but he does not look at her. His eyes are locked past her, toward the man who has now stopped a few feet behind them. The lantern light trembles in the man's hand, and for the first time it looks like he is unsure of his footing in his own house. The boy whispers again, but louder this time, "Papa." The word cuts through the hallway like a blade. Everything stops. The woman freezes, her grip loosening. "What did he just say?" she asks, turning sharply to the man. The man does not answer. The lantern slips slightly from his hand and hits the wooden floor with a dull sound, rolling once before going still. The flame flickers but does not go out. The boy takes a small step forward, his voice steadier now, "Papa." The woman shakes her head, panic rising. No, he is confused, he does not know what he is saying. The man finally speaks, but his voice is low, almost broken. He is not confused. The woman turns on him, anger and fear mixing. Then what is he doing? The man swallows hard, eyes locked on the child. "I don't know." The boy tilts his head slightly, like he is listening to something none of them can hear, then repeats, softer, almost like remembering, "Papa." The hallway feels tighter now, the walls seeming closer than before. The woman pulls the boy back instinctively. "Stop saying that." But the boy resists gently, not fighting, just refusing to move. The man takes one step forward, then another, his voice barely audible. "Say it again." The woman stares at him, shocked. "What are you doing?" The man does not look away from the boy. "Say it again." The boy looks at him directly now, and for a brief moment, the storm outside seems to pause. "Papa." The word lands heavier this time. The man closes his eyes for a second, as if something inside him collapses. The woman pulls the child closer. "We are leaving this place right now." But the boy does not move with her fully, his gaze still on the man. The man opens his eyes again, voice shaking now. "Where did you learn that?" The boy answers simply, "I remember you." Silence drops like a weight over all of them. The lantern light steadies strangely, casting long shadows that do not match their bodies. The man looks down at his hands as if realizing they belong to someone else. The woman says again, louder, "We are leaving." But the boy whispers one last time, almost tender, "Papa." And this time the man does not deny it. Outside the storm presses harder against the house, but inside everything has gone still except for the sound of breathing. The man finally bends down slightly, his voice barely holding together. "Say it again." The woman steps between them. "No, you do not say that to him." The boy looks between them, torn but calm, then says it again anyway, "Papa." The man nods once, very small, like a memory confirming itself. Then he reaches slowly toward the boy, stopping just short, as if afraid contact will break whatever truth is forming here. The hallway light flickers once more, and in that blink the house feels older, heavier, like it has been waiting for this exact word to be spoken again. The storm outside seems to hesitate at the walls. A silence deeper than thunder settles. The silence after the word does not fade, it deepens, like the house is holding it in its ribs. The hallway feels narrower now, pressing in from both sides, and the lantern light on the floor trembles without wind touching it. The woman pulls her son closer, her hands shaking. "What are you saying to my son?" she demands, her voice sharp but breaking at the edges. The man does not answer immediately. His eyes stay locked on the boy, like he is looking through him instead of at him. The boy does not look afraid. He looks certain. Too certain for a child standing in a stranger's hallway in the middle of a storm. "I ain't saying nothing," the man finally says. The woman turns fully toward him. "Then who is?" A long pause. The kind that makes the walls feel closer. The man swallows, jaw tight. Something that remembers. The boy shifts slightly in her grip, like those words touch something inside him. "He did say it," the boy whispers. The woman snaps, "No. You don't listen to that. You listen to me." But the boy isn't looking at her anymore. He is looking at the man again. The man takes a step closer, slow, careful, like approaching something wounded that might still bite. "What do you remember?" he asks quietly. The boy blinks once. Then his voice changes. Not louder. Not deeper. Just different. "You left me." The woman freezes. "What?" The boy repeats it, staring straight at the man now. "You left me." The man's face tightens. Something in him shifts, but he doesn't move. Doesn't speak. The woman pulls the boy back hard. "Stop it. Stop saying that." But the boy resists, not violently, just firmly, like he is anchored to the air itself. "You left me there." The man whispers, barely audible, "I buried you." The hallway goes still. The woman turns sharply. "What are you saying?" The man doesn't look at her. His eyes stay on the boy. "I buried you." The boy tilts his head slightly, as if considering the words. "No," he says. "You didn't finish it." The woman's grip tightens. "This is not real. This is not real." The man takes another step forward, voice lower now. "What are you saying to my son?" The boy's answer comes instantly. "I ain't your son." That hits harder than thunder. The woman stumbles back half a step. "No. No, you are. You are mine." The boy finally looks at her, soft but distant. "I was yours." The man closes his eyes for a brief second, like he is holding something heavy inside his chest from breaking open. "Then who are you?" he asks again, but this time it isn't directed at the boy. It sounds like he is asking the air. The boy answers anyway. "I'm his." The woman shakes her head violently. "No. No, that's not possible." The boy continues, voice steady now, almost calm. "You buried me where you thought I wouldn't speak." The man's hands twitch at his sides. "I buried you so they wouldn't take you." The boy steps forward one small step. "You buried me so I would stay quiet." The woman pulls him back again, panic rising. "Stop it. Stop talking like that." The boy turns his head slightly toward her. "You didn't hear me before." The man whispers, "Who is they?" The boy doesn't answer that. Instead, he says, "You left me with them." The woman's voice cracks. "There is no them." The boy looks at her now with something almost sad. "There was." A loud bang echoes suddenly from below. Not outside. Below them. The basement. All three freeze at once. The lantern flickers violently, light jumping across the walls like something trapped underneath is moving. The man turns his head slowly toward the floor. His voice drops. "No." The boy whispers again, almost like relief. "You remember now." The woman grabs the boy hard. "We are leaving. Now." But the man doesn't move. His eyes stay fixed on the floorboards like they are no longer wood. Another sound comes up from below. Softer this time. Like something knocking back. The man exhales slowly. "That ain't supposed to be open." The boy takes a step toward the sound. The woman yanks him back. No. You stay with me. The boy doesn't resist. But he looks at the man. And in that look, something shifts again. Not confusion. Not fear. Recognition. The man whispers, almost to himself, it shouldn't be answering. Another knock from below. Louder. The lantern flame bends sideways for no reason at all. And the house, for the first time, feels like it is waiting for them to choose what comes next. The basement door does not open all at once, it moves slowly as if something on the other side is pushing it from memory rather than force. A thin crack appears first, then wider, releasing a breath of cold air that does not belong in the hallway. The sound is soft but wrong, like wood remembering how to break. The woman steps back, immediately pulling the boy closer, but the boy is already looking at it unmoving. The man stands frozen, eyes locked on the door. As it shifts again, the house feels different. Now, like it has turned its attention downward, the air tightens in the hallway like it is holding its breath. The boy whispers without looking away, "That's where you left me." The woman shakes her head fast. No, you don't know what that is." The man finally speaks, voice tight, "You've never seen that door." The boy blinks once, still staring. "I didn't need to see it." The woman pulls him harder. "Stop it, we are leaving this place." But the boy does not move, his feet stay planted like he is remembering how to stand here. The silence around them feels heavier than the storm outside. The man watches the boy like he is waiting for something to break open inside him. The man takes one step toward the door. The woman snaps, "Nobody goes down there." He pauses. The boy answers immediately, "You do." The man's jaw tightens. The woman turns to him, desperate. "Tell him to stop." The man does not look at her. The boy adds softly, "Not anymore." The air drops colder again. The lantern on the floor flickers weakly as if listening. The man whispers, "You will tonight." The boy tilts his head slightly as if hearing something behind the walls. The woman steps back slowly, realizing the hallway is not the same anymore. The wood creaks under their feet like it is shifting. The man exhales sharply, then looks at the door again as if it has already been opened before. The boy whispers again, almost like confirmation, "It is time." The woman steps between them. "No, you are not going down there." The man finally moves, bending to pick up the lantern from the floor. His hand shakes slightly, but he grips it anyway. The boy watches him closely, calm now, as if this moment was always going to happen. The man turns toward the basement door. "Stay here," he says, but no one believes it is a command. The woman follows a step but stops when the boy doesn't move with her. The man places his hand on the doorframe and it opens wider on its own. He exhales once, then starts walking down into the dark. The steps below are not visible, but the sound of them feels too close to be empty. The woman whispers his name, but it does not stop him. The boy stands at the edge, watching like he has been here before in another life. The lantern light shrinks as the man descends further, and the house seems to breathe around them slower, deeper, like it is finally letting something out that it has held for too long. The woman pulls the boy back slightly, but he does not resist, his eyes still fixed on the darkness below. The man disappears one step at a time until only the lantern glow remains. Then the two sinks into the basement, leaving the hallway in a hollow silence that feels like it has been waiting for this moment since the house was built. The silence deepens as the storm outside presses harder against the walls, like it knows what is happening down. The basement does not feel like a room, it feels like a memory that never agreed to stay buried in the air inside. It moves like it remembers people even when they forget it. The stairs creak under the man's weight as he descends slowly, lantern shaking in his hand, the light barely holding shape in the dark walls that seem closer than they should be. The woman stands at the top calling his name, but her voice is swallowed before it can leave the hallway, and the boy watches from behind her, unmoving, as if the basement is calling him instead. The man reaches the bottom and stops because the air is heavier, wrong, thicker, like something has been breathing there longer than him, and it knows he has returned. He lifts the lantern and reveals a dirt floor disturbed in the center of the basement, as if someone had been digging and stopped only when they could not continue anymore. "You buried a child here," the woman says from above, her voice breaking into pieces. The man does not answer right away. He kneels slowly, pressing his palm into the dirt like it might speak back to him, and finally he whispers, "He was dying." "So you killed him?" the woman snaps from the stairs. The man shakes his head once, slow and broken. "No, I saved him from them, from what was coming for him." "From who?" she demands, stepping closer despite the cold rising from the floor. The man looks into the dark corners of the basement like they might answer for him, and his voice drops lower, "From the ones who wanted to take what he was before he even learned it himself." Silence falls heavy as the lantern flickers harder and the walls seem to listen instead of stand. The boy speaks faintly from the stairs above, "That's where you left me." The man freezes completely, like the ground has locked him in place. The woman whispers no, but it is already too late because the boy is already coming down the stairs slowly, step by step, like he knows every sound this house can make. "You buried a child," he says calmly, as if reading something already written. The man whispers, "I couldn't let them take you, I had no choice." The boy kneels near the disturbed dirt, ignoring everything else like it no longer matters who is watching. His fingers press into the soil slowly, like he is remembering how to dig, as if it is not the first time. "Stop!" the woman screams from above, but no one listens because the basement is no longer a place, it is an answer being uncovered. The man stands over the spot, trembling as the truth begins to feel heavier than fear. "I didn't kill you," he says softly, like it is something he needs to believe. The boy does not look up and answers quietly, "You buried me so I wouldn't scream anymore." The lantern flickers violently, then steadies, like something inside the house has finally accepted what is being remembered, and the boy keeps digging as the basement fills with a silence that feels like waiting for something to rise back up from where it was never meant to stay buried. The man drops to his knees beside the boy, not touching him but close enough to feel what is coming out of the ground between them. The woman comes down one step, shaking. "This is not real," she repeats, but her voice no longer sounds certain. The boy whispers without stopping, "It is already done." The man finally reaches forward and stops just before touching the boy, as if afraid the truth will break him completely. A small wooden edge becomes visible in the dirt, like something refusing to stay hidden anymore. The woman covers her mouth in horror as the man whispers, "I didn't want this to come back up." The boy looks at him finally fully and says, "But it did." The basement feels alive around them, breathing through the walls as the box is uncovered inch by inch, and nothing in the house is silent anymore because everything is remembering. The wooden box rises from the dirt slowly, as if the ground does not want to release it completely. The lantern light catches its surface, rough and old, soaked with time that feels heavier than age should allow. The basement is no longer silent, it is listening, breathing, waiting. The man stares at it like it is not an object but a wound he never closed properly. The boy kneels beside it, calm, steady, too calm for a child in a place like this. The woman stands frozen on the last step, her hands shaking as she tries to understand what she is seeing. The boy speaks first, his voice quiet but certain, "You promised me fire." The words land wrong in the room, like they belong to another time. The man flinches slightly but does not deny it. "That was never a promise," he whispers. The boy tilts his head slowly. "It was." The woman steps forward sharply. What is he talking about? But neither of them answers her. The air in the basement tightens again, like the house itself is remembering alongside them. The man finally reaches toward the box but stops just before touching it, his hand trembling. "You don't understand what was happening," he says low, almost pleading. The boy looks at him without blinking. "I do." The woman snaps, "No, he doesn't, he's a child." The boy turns his gaze to her for the first time since coming down. "I was." The word hangs heavy between them. The man exhales shakily, "I tried to keep you safe." The boy responds immediately, "You buried me." The man shakes his head hard, "I buried what they would have taken from you." The woman steps closer, her voice breaking, "Taken him from what?" Silence answers her first, then the boy speaks again, softer, "From who I was supposed to become." The lantern flickers violently as if rejecting the sentence. The man drops to one knee beside the box, his breath uneven. "You weren't supposed to survive that night." The boy replies without emotion, "But I did." The woman whispers, "This is not possible," but her voice sounds smaller now, like it no longer controls the room. The man finally opens the box. Inside is not what anyone expects, and yet somehow it feels exactly like what the house has been holding back. Old cloth, small objects, burned edges, and something that looks too personal to belong in dirt. The man stares into it and his face changes, like recognition and guilt are fighting for the same space. "I couldn't let them take you," he says again, quieter this time, as if repeating it makes it more real. The boy leans closer, "But you already gave me away." The woman shakes her head rapidly, "Stop saying that to him." The boy does not look at her, it already happened. The basement feels colder again, like something unseen has stepped closer. The man's voice cracks, "I did what I had to do." The boy replies instantly, "No, you did what you could live with." A long silence follows. The lantern dims, then brightens as if struggling to stay present. The man stares into the box and whispers, "I buried you to stop the fire." The boy answers softly, "You buried me and kept it inside instead." The woman finally drops to her knees, unable to stand anymore. "What fire?" she asks, but no one answers her directly. The boy looks at the man with something steady and final, "You promised me fire and you gave me silence instead." The man closes his eyes, like the sentence cuts deeper than anything before. The house creaks around them, low and slow, like it is agreeing. The boy places his hand on the edge of the box gently, almost respectfully. That's why I'm still here. The lantern flickers one last time, then steadies. The basement does not feel empty anymore. It feels remembered. The house does not stay outside anymore, it moves through the walls like something that finally learned how to breathe inside a human space. After the basement, the storm feels different, heavier, not louder but closer, as if it has slipped under the floorboards and is now inside the bones of the house. Dust falls without warning from the ceiling in soft sudden bursts, and the air keeps shifting, cold then warm then cold again, like the house cannot decide what it is becoming anymore. The woman stands in the hallway, pressing herself against the wood, trying to steady her breath, while the boy stays at the bottom of the stairs, silent, staring upward as if listening to something no one else can hear. The man remains near the basement door, his eyes locked on the floorboards as faint echoes rise through the wood like distant voices trapped under memory and time. Inside the house the sound changes, it is no longer only the storm, it is something layered beneath it, like breathing trapped in wood. Walls begin to creak in patterns that do not match the wind outside, as if they are remembering how to speak. The woman turns sharply when she hears her name, but no one has spoken it aloud. The boy remains still at the stairs, listening to something deeper than sound. The man presses a hand against the wall and feels it pulse faintly under his palm, a heartbeat that does not belong to anything living. Whispered fragments drift through the hallway, soft, broken, repeating without source. You never let me go. The words seem to come from everywhere at once. The man steps back as his breathing tightens, and the house seems to follow his movement, like it is aware of him now. The house reacts more violently now, as if the basement has opened something it cannot close again. Walls bend with subtle shifts that feel almost like breathing, and the air carries faint voices that do not belong to any of them. The man stands in the hallway, frozen, his whispers grow clearer, repeating words he does not want to understand. You never let me go echoes through the wood, and he grips the wall harder, trying to steady himself. The woman looks between him and the boy, panic rising in her chest as she speaks sharply. This house ain't right. The boy does not respond immediately, only listens, as if the house is speaking directly to him. The man whispers almost to himself, it remembers what I did. The woman snaps, then why stay? The man finally answers, his voice low, because he stayed. The boy slowly reaches out and takes the man's hand without fear or hesitation as the storm inside the walls continues to breathe around them. Inside the house, whispers grow sharper until they feel like they are moving through skin instead of air. The man staggers as the phrase repeats again, you never let me go. His breathing tightens and he presses his hands against his ears, but it does not stop. The woman calls his name, but her voice feels distant, like it belongs outside now. The boy stands beside him, holding his hand, watching the man with calm understanding that feels too old. The man whispers, I did not mean for this to happen. The walls answer with another echo that sounds like memory breaking apart. The boy squeezes his hand gently and says nothing, but does not let go as the house continues to pulse around them like a living confession. The house does not calm, but it stops shouting, as if it is listening instead of speaking. The storm outside feels farther, like it has lost its grip on the walls. The man stands breathing unevenly, still shaken but no longer resisting. The woman watches him, unsure if anything in him remains the same. The boy looks between them and steps forward without being pulled. The man lowers his hand and the boy reaches for it on his own. Their fingers touch, then steady. The woman whispers his name but does not stop him. The boy takes the man's hand willingly, and the house settles into a strange silence that feels like acceptance rather than peace. The silence after the storm inside the walls feels unnatural, like the house is holding its breath and refusing to release it. The hallway is still dim, the lantern light reduced to a weak glow that barely reaches their feet. Dust hangs in the air without falling. Even the wind outside sounds distant now, as if it has been pushed far away from the house's center. The boy stands in front of the man, their hands still loosely connected. Say it again, the man whispers. The boy does not respond immediately. He just watches him, calm in a way that feels too steady for his age. The house creaks softly around them, like it is leaning in to hear. The woman breaks in, voice sharp but exhausted. Don't do this again. The man doesn't look at her. His focus stays on the boy. Say it again. A pause. The boy tilts his head slightly, studying him. Papa, the boy says. The word lands softly this time. Not like a shock, but like something returning to its place after being lost too long. The man closes his eyes. His grip tightens for a moment, then loosens. I ain't deserve that, he says quietly. The boy doesn't pull away. You waited. The woman steps forward, breaking her silence. No. No, you don't say that to him. You don't, she stops herself, breath shaking. We're done here. We're leaving. But neither of them reacts to her anymore. The man opens his eyes again, staring at the boy like he is trying to memorize something he once buried too deep. I tried to forget you, he admits, voice rough. I tried to bury all of it. The boy answers simply. But you didn't bury me right. A faint sound moves through the house again, like a distant echo of something shifting but not breaking. The walls no longer whisper, but they feel awake. The man lowers himself slightly, bringing himself closer to the boy's height. What are you? He asks, but there is no fear in it anymore. Only exhaustion. The boy looks at him for a long moment. I'm what you didn't finish. The woman shakes her head slowly, stepping back. This is not my child talking, she says under her breath. This is not real. The boy turns his head toward her briefly. I am real. The man exhales sharply, like something inside him has finally given up resisting. He looks at the boy again, voice softer now. You came back. The boy doesn't correct him. Doesn't agree either. He just stands there, holding the moment like it belongs to him. The woman suddenly reaches for the boy's arm. We are going, she says firmly now, pulling him. Right now. The boy doesn't resist immediately, but he doesn't fully move either. His eyes stay on the man. The man steps back slowly, releasing him without force. But the gesture feels heavier than holding him ever did. The boy looks between them. The house creaks again, but softer this time. Not warning. Not anger. Something closer to decision. The boy speaks one last time, quietly. You waited. The man nods once, barely visible. Outside, the storm begins to thin for the first time. And inside, the silence finally stops fighting them. The sheriff doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't need to. The whole street already belongs to him. The girl stands in front of the man, holding the document like it weighs more than iron. These names don't belong to you anymore, she says. The sheriff tilts his head slightly. They never belonged to you either. The boy steps forward. They belong to people. A short laugh from the sheriff. People don't hold ownership here. The man shifts between them, silent, but no longer passive. His body is tense, like something inside him is pressing outward. The girl looks at him. You don't have to do this alone. The boy snaps, or at all. We can leave. The man shakes his head once. Slow. Firm. The sheriff watches him closely. Still trying to fix what you helped build? The man's jaw tightens. The girl turns sharply. Stop talking like he's your property. The sheriff replies calmly, he was never mine. He was trained. The boy mutters, that's worse. A long silence stretches. Then the sheriff gestures slightly. Show them. From behind him, two men step into view. Not rushing. Not threatening yet. Just present. Watching. The girl stiffens. So that's it. Back up. The boy whispers, of course it's back up. The man steps forward half a step. The sheriff notices immediately. You still think you can undo this? The man opens his mouth. Nothing comes out at first. He presses his hand against his throat. The girl whispers, he's trying. The boy shakes his head. It's like it's locked. The man forces air out again. A broken sound escapes. Not words yet. But closer. The sheriff watches without reaction. You can stop performing. The man's shoulders rise with effort. The girl steps closer. Don't listen to him. The boy adds, just say it. The man's voice finally breaks through. Rough. Uneven. Not theirs. The street goes still. The girl exhales sharply. Yes. The boy whispers, he did it. The sheriff doesn't move. That's not language. That's damage. The man tries again. Stronger this time. Not property. The words land heavier than expected. The girl steps forward. Say it again. The man repeats it, slower. Not property. The sheriff's eyes narrow slightly. The boy looks at the sheriff. You hear that? The sheriff replies flatly, I hear noise. The girl suddenly raises the document. These are people you marked like inventory. The sheriff responds, they were processed. The boy snaps, they were stolen. The man suddenly steps forward between them again. This time not trembling. Intentional. The girl watches him closely. What are you doing? The man looks at the sheriff directly. Long silence. Then he speaks again. Stronger. Enough. The word cracks through the street. The sheriff pauses for the first time. The boy notices immediately. He didn't like that. The girl whispers, no. He didn't expect it. The sheriff exhales slowly. You think one word changes structure? The man shakes his head. Then speaks again. Stop. Another silence. The girl steps beside him now. We're not asking anymore. The boy joins her. We're done asking. The sheriff studies them both. Then the man. You really think you can stand there and rewrite what's already been decided? The man's voice comes again, rough but clearer now. Not decided. The girl looks at him with something shifting in her expression. Keep going. The boy whispers, he's finding it. The sheriff finally moves his hand toward his belt. The girl sees it instantly. He's reaching. The man steps forward again, cutting the distance. The sheriff stops. A beat of tension. The boy mutters, he's hesitating. The girl whispers, because he doesn't know what we are yet. The man speaks again. Not alone. The words hang there. The girl repeats it softly. Not alone. The boy nods once. Yeah. The sheriff's expression tightens slightly. That's what you think this is? The man doesn't answer. He just stands. Still. Present. The girl turns to the sheriff. We're not leaving him. The boy adds, and we're not staying under you. The sheriff's voice lowers. Then you don't understand what leaving costs. The man steps forward one last time. He doesn't speak now. He just stands between them and the system he once helped build. And for the first time, silence is not obedience. It is refusal. The silence after his words does not feel like peace. It feels like something unfinished holding its shape in the air. The hallway is dim but steady now, the lantern light no longer flickering like it is afraid. Outside, the storm is still there, but weaker, as if it has lost interest in the house for a moment. Nothing fully leaves. Nothing fully stays. The woman moves first. She steps in, fast, desperate, grabbing the boy's arm. He's mine, she says immediately, voice shaking but firm. He's mine and we're leaving. The boy turns toward her slowly. Not resisting yet. Just watching. The man doesn't move. He just looks at them, like he already knows this is coming. The woman pulls harder. We're done with this place. Done with you. He is coming with me. The boy takes a small step with her, but his eyes stay on the man. The man finally speaks, low. I know. That stops her for half a second. She tightens her grip. Then let him go. The man exhales, something heavy leaving him in that breath. I don't know how. The woman snaps instantly. You don't get to say that. You don't get to stand here and act like this is confusion. He is a child. The man nods slightly. I know what he is. The boy's hand slips slightly in her grip. Not forced. Not taken. Just uncertain, like something inside him is dividing. The woman notices and pulls him closer, panic rising again. Look at me, she tells him. You are coming with me. Do you hear me? The boy looks at her. Then back at the man. The house creaks softly around them, like it is waiting again, but not pushing. The man doesn't step forward this time. He stays back, voice quieter than before. I ain't stopping you. The woman freezes. Then what is this? The man looks at the boy. I don't think he needs me to. That hits differently. Not loud. Not dramatic. Just final in a way that makes the air feel thinner. The boy slowly pulls his arm free from the woman's hand. She immediately reaches again. No. No, you don't do that. You stay with me. The boy doesn't step toward her or away from her. He just stands between them for a moment, like he is deciding something that no one else is allowed to choose for him. The man watches silently, not moving. The woman's voice breaks slightly. I carried you. I raised you. You don't just. The boy interrupts gently, but firmly. I know. That stops her completely. A long pause follows. No one speaks. Even the house feels still now, like it is listening without judgment. The boy turns his head slowly toward the man again. Then back to the woman. Both of them waiting, but not pushing anymore. He takes a small breath. Then steps toward the woman first. She exhales sharply, relief and fear mixing together as she reaches for him again. Good. Good. Come on. We're going. She holds him, but this time more carefully, like she is afraid of what he might slip into if she grips too hard. The man doesn't react. He just watches. The boy looks over her shoulder one last time at him. The man gives a small nod. Not approval. Not permission. Just understanding. The woman pulls the boy toward the stairs. Step by step, they begin to leave the hallway behind. The house does not stop them. It does not resist. It simply watches. The boy pauses halfway up the stairs. He looks back once more. Softly, almost too quiet to hear, he says, "Bye." The man doesn't answer. But something in his face shifts. Just once. A faint smile that doesn't fully belong to happiness or sadness. The woman doesn't look back. They disappear up the stairs together. And for the first time, the house does not call them back. The boy mutters, he's hesitating. The girl whispers, because he doesn't know what we are yet. The man speaks again. Not alone. The words hang there. The girl repeats it softly. Not alone. The boy nods once. Yeah. The sheriff's expression tightens slightly. That's what you think this is? The man doesn't answer. He just stands. Still. Present. The girl turns to the sheriff. We're not leaving him. The boy adds, and we're not staying under you. The sheriff's voice lowers. Then you don't understand what leaving costs. The man steps forward one last time. He doesn't speak now. He just stands between them and the system he once helped build. And for the first time, silence is not obedience. It is refusal. The silence after his words does not feel like peace. It feels like something unfinished holding its shape in the air. The hallway is dim but steady now, the lantern light no longer flickering like it is afraid. Outside, the storm is still there, but weaker, as if it has lost interest in the house for a moment. Nothing fully leaves. Nothing fully stays. The woman moves first. She steps in, fast, desperate, grabbing the boy's arm. He's mine, she says immediately, voice shaking but firm. He's mine and we're leaving. The boy turns toward her slowly. Not resisting yet. just watching. The man doesn't move. He just looks at them, like he already knows this is coming. The woman pulls harder. We're done with this place. Done with you. He is coming with me. The boy takes a small step with her, but his eyes stay on the man. The man finally speaks, low. I know. That stops her for half a second. She tightens her grip. Then let him go. The man exhales, something heavy leaving him in that breath. I don't know how. The woman snaps instantly. You don't get to say that. You don't get to stand here and act like this is confusion. He is a child. The man nods slightly. I know what he is. The boy's hand slips slightly in her grip. Not forced. Not taken. Just uncertain, like something inside him is dividing. The woman notices and pulls him closer, panic rising again. Look at me, she tells him. You are coming with me. Do you hear me? The boy looks at her. Then back at the man. The house creaks softly around them, like it is waiting again, but not pushing. The man doesn't step forward this time. He stays back, voice quieter than before. I ain't stopping you. The woman freezes. Then what is this? The man looks at the boy. I don't think he needs me to. That hits differently. Not loud. Not dramatic. Just final in a way that makes the air feel thinner. The boy slowly pulls his arm free from the woman's hand. She immediately reaches again. No. No, you don't do that. You stay with me. The boy doesn't step toward her or away from her. He just stands between them for a moment, like he is deciding something that no one else is allowed to choose for him. The man watches silently, not moving. The woman's voice breaks slightly. I carried you. I raised you. You don't just. The boy interrupts gently, but firmly. I know. That stops her completely. A long pause follows. No one speaks. Even the house feels still now, like it is listening without judgment. The boy turns his head slowly toward the man again. Then back to the woman. Both of them waiting, but not pushing anymore. He takes a small breath. Then steps toward the woman first. She exhales sharply, relief and fear mixing together as she reaches for him again. Good. Good. Come on. We're going. She holds him, but this time more carefully, like she is afraid of what he might slip into if she grips too hard. The man doesn't react. He just watches. The boy looks over her shoulder one last time at him. The man gives a small nod. Not approval. Not permission. Just understanding. The woman pulls the boy toward the stairs. Step by step, they begin to leave the hallway behind. The house does not stop them. It does not resist. It simply watches. The boy pauses halfway up the stairs. He looks back once more. Softly, almost too quiet to hear, he says, "Bye." The man doesn't answer. But something in his face shifts. Just once. A faint smile that doesn't fully belong to happiness or sadness. The woman doesn't look back. They disappear up the stairs together. And for the first time, the house does not call them back.